Yes, how are we, boys? Gee whiz. There's some happiness and there's some sadness. Happiness because what a round of footy. We're going into the grand final. Sadness because I can feel the party's ending. You know that? You know when the party's ending? Remember when you were a kid, you're about 15, and you're like, oh, this is the best night of my life. But then you look at it and you go, shit, mum's going to be here in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Lights are coming on.
It's sort of the lights come on. And you're like, oh, turn them off.
Yeah. No, I don't want it to end. How did you get through that prelim?
At least the anxiety's gone.
Which one? Oh, the first one I wasn't. I went to sleep. That was shit.
Yeah.
The second one was huge. I was there. I was an inserter on the weekend.
I saw that.
Do you want to talk about it now? or some are different roles. Hey, before we get into it though, I'm inserting these guys in because these guys are the best in the business. Thank you so much to our friends at JD Sports. We do need to get back to JD Sports.
Yeah, 100%. I love JD
the girls,
Sports. I went back past them the other day.
We need the girls some stuff for Christmas, don't we? A couple, because they're the undisputed king of the trainers. So we need to get the girls in some
fresh wheels.
Yes, that'd be good. Leave that with me. Thank you very much, JD Sports. Now, boys, as I said, what a round of footy. So much to get through this week. We'll touch on the VFL. Don't worry about that. I watched that yesterday. Brett didn't. No. He had no time for that one.
Unashamedly.
Watched the VFL. Cooking dinner for my in-laws who just got back from India, so I was...
what were they doing in India, Brett?
They were over there for a wedding, actually.
Were they doing that dance?
What the hell were they doing over there?
Were they doing the dancing like Nat Fyfe went over there and did the dancing?
They were doing dancing, yes.
Brett.
Bollywood
Brett just comes out with this shit that just like his in-laws were in India. Brett, whose wedding was it?
Their nephews. Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go to India. I'm a massive Indian food fan as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, some of the stories they'll tell me is pretty hairy, like some of the places they went to and different things. But then they saw some cool stuff as well, the Taj Mahal, obviously, but then some big forts that are like the size of the MCG that they...
They see Sachin Tendulkar?
I'm not sure they did run into Sachin. Yeah. Oh, small, so I've met Sachin. I've shaken...
Yeah, have you?
Well, he's shaking your hand.
Yeah, the little master.
Where'd you meet him?
I was invited down to Cricket Victoria and got asked to field for them in a trial game.
No, you would have said no to the fielding. You would have said, how about I just open?
Your story.
You tell the story.
No, you tell the story. I hate when I interrupt. I'm sorry. You go, Brett. No.
You tell your story, Brett.
I do like inserting myself
into
the stories.
You're a good inserter.
You're there, Brett. You keep going.
Yeah, you tell us. Yeah. Anyway, I got to field at mid-off for about 10 overs, 15 overs, and after the game, we got to go into... Well, the Indian players come into the Victorian rooms, and I got to shake Virender Sehwag's hand and Sachin Tendulkar, so that's a little claim to fame.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'm not a cricket guy, but I know those names.
Yeah.
India, those guys over there, how big would they be?
Apparently Sachin Tendulkar's a massive car man, but can't drive his cars until like 3 or 4 in the morning because people just wait outside his gates and swamp him.
And as soon as he said that he only drives at 3 or 4 in the morning, I reckon they just started to go out at 3 or 4 in the morning and wait for Sachin to leave the house.
That's very cool. I don't know how we got sidetracked there.
No, we didn't. But hey, hair's looking good. I reckon it's up to an 8 and 4.
We've had...
And it's had a little rinse, a few little greys popping through.
We've had a few comments over the weekend. Very funny game, though, because someone actually was saying this weekend they were confused on... It's actually quite a hard game because Joel Amadi on the weekend, it's a hard one because he's got the braids.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is that? Do you rate it off the braid or do you rate it off what it would be if it was unbraided?
Yeah.
I think you go with the braids.
Oh, okay. So what are you giving it then?
It'd nearly be a 2-0, really.
Yeah.
If you think about it. But without braid, it could be 16-1.
Yeah.
Because who knows how long the braids are underneath.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the questions what we ask on this show. Plenty to get through today, as we said. But firstly, mate, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? After the loss, unfortunately.
Yeah, Saturday loss.
I
actually feel like what's the date today? 23rd of September. I feel like you on the 30th or 31st of every month, like a wounded bull.
Oh yeah, when the invoices
I've
come
got
through.
scabs and scars. I think I've done my calf. Lost my voice, and ultimately lost the grand final on Saturday by 1 point.
Talk us through a quick recap of the game. Did they go to you? Did they hear you talk? Did they
Head on the plate stuff?
Yeah.
Nah, they didn't. There was an opposition supporter that came to me after the game as they stormed the field. He gave me the
owl on the head. I reckon bring that back. That's a good one.
I reckon when you're 50 and supporting
love
local footy, you probably move past.
I'm all for that.
But it was a shootout. 3 goals, 10, 29, or 28.
Mm-hmm.
To 4 goals, 5, 29.
Wow.
Bit of a windswept game. Tight, contested type of game.
Was it a bog heap? No.
Nah.
Now,
Wow.
I don't work for Champion Data, but you're pretty inaccurate there in front of goal.
Yeah.
So are you saying that nearly, is it,
No, we had that chance.
did you kick yourself out of it?
Yeah, it's safe to say. It's probably a bit raw, 48 hours.
Yeah, sorry.
Within the 48. You know
Sorry,
how
yeah.
they say the first 48 hours is the most crucial to finding who did it
That's in a crime scene.
in crime scenes?
Yes.
First 48 hours post-grand final is pretty raw.
Yeah.
But I think when we do a deep dive into it, simply put, we probably had a few opportunities. Well, we did have a few opportunities to win it, just kicking straight or taking
Name and shame
opportunities.
who fucked it for you.
Me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I missed one.
Fundamentals, mate.
Fundamentals.
So I got some feedback on the game.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Connor O'Sullivan was watching it with George Stevens, who's a Warrnambool boy.
Yeah.
And his feedback to me was, this is the worst standard of footy I've ever watched.
Really?
Hey, shout out George Stevens' brother Archie, got the best on for South Warrnambool. He's a very good player.
So he won it in a losing team?
No,
Or
he played
plays
in the
other
winning team.
Okay. apologies.
Yeah, it was.
It's hard when North and South, isn't it?
Yeah, I
You-
keep getting confused.
It was a
with
tough.
both of
Yeah, I actually half thought halfway through the second quarter because it was. I think I checked the messages afterwards. It was 9-4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Heading
when
into
he
the-
gave me the feedback.
Heading
He goes,
into the
"Oh my
halftime
God."
break, and I was like, we nearly might need a bit of gentleman's agreement here that we
Shake hands and
open it up a bit, get the ball flowing a bit.
Make it a bit more of a spectacle.
Hey, the game on Saturday was very much like that as well. But let's go Friday night first.
Yeah, I reckon. That's a good start.
Sydney defeated Port Adelaide.
Yep.
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. Credit to Ken Hinkley, what he's been able to do this year. I think he's, besides that little misdemeanor last week, which I actually loved. I know a lot of
plane?
I loved the plane. He didn't as much. But I think that what he's been able to do, as we mentioned before, with a bit of a horrific list. He's done
Really?
well.
You don't think their list is that good?
Oh, sorry. That's a bit harsh.
It's one of their
It's harsh. Their
the
bottom
depth of
end,
list.
yeah, the depth of the list.
Yeah.
Like, I think they were literally scratching their heads on when there was a couple injuries last week who they'd bring back in. So I think he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think if you look at the two sides that have progressed to the grand final, like the depth of squad that they've got, in particular Sydney, like they're going to have the
Real
talk
headaches.
around Taylor Adams and
Callum
guys that are
Mills,
going to
Fox,
miss.
Mills,
yeah. There's going to be 2 or 3 that miss. You're like, oh, gee, that sick feeling in your tummy, Dill.
Do you want to know who's got the sick feeling? The Giants. Because they had both of these 2 grand finalists on toast. Had them on
I hadn't
toast.
thought about that, Brett.
I hadn't thought about that either, Brett.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it, Brett.
Oh, well, they had the Swans, they were up by 30-odd points, and then the Lions as well, they were up by 44 points, the largest comeback in AFL history.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get it done ultimately, but they'd be sitting there thinking, wow, whoever wins, we were good enough.
Yeah, and Port Adelaide on the weekend were hindsight's a beautiful thing, but they were done, weren't they?
Yeah.
Before
They
it
played
started.
their granny.
That
The
was
week before, I
against the
reckon.
Hawks,
Yeah. But
It's an interesting point about the Giants, though, around that. Like, ultimately, and I've done a lot of reflection on this with my comments earlier in the year around Brisbane, and I've sort of had to
I can't wait to get to that.
work out, what to say. But ultimately, I think Brisbane, you cannot write them off in terms of what they've been able to do in this final, the second half of the year. They are better than the Giants. They have to be. Like, to beat them at home, I think that the right team's got into the grand final now. Okay, I know people are going to jump on board. That was, different what I said earlier in the year. But the way they've turned it around to come back against the Giants and then even to flick it against the Cats, they go in a point up and they still, come home so strongly in the end, kick those 2 goals in 3 minutes. They can, turn a game in no time. So I think they're the right team that's gotten through.
Oh, yeah, well, we're not
Over
talking
the
about
Giants.
that.
I'm saying over the Giants.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll go back to
Didn't like
the Swans Port
Yeah.
game.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we're talking about Swans Sport.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I apologise.
I think
Yep.
Swans. There was a little bit even you can just tell very early in the game. It's like that they would have been a little bit anxious and a bit nervous, but once within 15 minutes they kind of got the control of the game and they felt pretty good about themselves. They looked amazing, and Port pretty much just couldn't keep up. So they're, I reckon, as of about halfway through the third quarter, they had a good awareness that they were going through the grand final and had a pretty good feel about what it is. So Sydney have had like that year where they were far and away the leading side, had that slump, and for the last 4 or 5 weeks have just controlled it pretty nicely. So, the only thing they've really got to worry about this week is, what that finals side looks like? How quickly do they announce who's in, who's out? What does it look like with Callum Mills?
He's going to be right on. I think he's 18 days since he did it. When you don't usually see a hammy of that. So,
I haven't given it a huge amount of thought if I put myself in the chair just yet, Brett. But I think you've just got to. If he's fit and available, he plays. And I think they would have a really good understanding of how he's tracking. Right now, they would have known probably last Thursday that is he ahead of schedule, on schedule, or so I reckon pretty quickly in the week we'll know if he's playing.
I don't reckon Horse takes the risk because of he's won 1 out of 3 or 4 grand finals.
Yeah,
and I reckon he's just going to want everyone cherry ripe and not have any question mark hanging over with fit players. But
and he probably hasn't been.
Set the word a lot.
Yeah, the main reason for
role
Sydney.
player in terms of he's better than a role player, but he's played his role since he's come back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So they've done a lot of it without him. So I think your point's valid.
I agree with Brett. I wouldn't be taking in any injury class, especially.
So that means unchanged from your point of view.
Yeah,
Fox is a sub.
I
think Fox would
like
play.
Fox's sub. I liked him. Yeah, I like him on playing the whole
But
game.
we play them all, yeah.
We'll call the AFL and just say, hey, let's scrap the sub, play everyone.
Play 26.
Play Adams, get Mills in just in case. Just get them all in.
I don't mind. I like your point of him playing because his last grand final plays on Jez and blankets him. You know, so that didn't get overawed by the situation. I don't know whether that happens again. Potentially.
Well, I reckon we sleep on it for a couple of nights and
change our
t-shirts,
see where it matches up,
and see what it looks like.
Can I say one point that I think was actually really positive for the Swans heading into next week? I've been bullish on how much the Sydney Swans tools need to lift. Yeah. And that conversation with Horse a few weeks back where he took him into the room and said,
Bottle boys,
let's get going. Also, do you know why?
Pull your finger out.
Joel Marty kicked 3 goals, 2.
Yeah, he was big.
McDonald kicked 2 goals, 1. McDonald
question
got it
mark?
done. There's still a question mark, but 2 goals, 1.
What's the question mark on him?
No, I just think I want him to just run through someone and kill him.
Oh, right.
I want him to put his knee through a spine.
No, there's a question mark on him though. Why?
Did he hurt himself?
Yeah.
What did he do? What did he do, Brett? You were at the fucking pub on the weekend, dickhead.
And I still watched it, didn't
what
I?
What happened to him?
Did you watch the game?
I watched the game. I'll be
he
honest,
fell
I went asleep at 3/4 time because it was fucking shit. But what happened? What happened after it? What happened?
And you haven't followed up on any of the news since?
I haven't heard much about that. I'll be honest.
Nothing on the mini.
I haven't heard much about the mini. That wasn't on it.
He only came off, put his foot in ice, got subbed out.
He'll be fine.
No, I think he will be
He'll
fine.
be fine.
I think
but 2 goals, 1.
Didn't do any
it's
training
good.
yesterday, they said, but anyway.
Hayden McLean as well kicked 1, which is good. Anything else on the Swannies?
Yeah, Chad Warner is playing with Dustin Martin arrogance at the moment. I was sitting there with Chrissy Newman and Cam Howard down at the pub, a couple of former teammates of mine. Actually, a guy came over and he's like, hey, can I just get a photo? Looks at House. He goes, Brett, can I just get a photo?
Who's House?
Cam Howard, number 43, used to play for the Tigers, out in the wing.
Yep.
Good number. But he got asked as they thought he was Brett.
Oh, so
and
he thought you were Brett?
Yeah. No, he thought he was Brett, I was Cam. And
did he ask you to take the photo?
No, he didn't. But then
must have been a big fan.
They just laughed. Anyway, he fucked that up, that bloke. Shit story. We were just talking about how powerful and how much Chad Warner takes the absolute piss.
Yeah, he's very cool.
And he just stands there and looks at him. And then he's just like, you know what, I'm actually going to run around you and stiff arm you and I'm going to dance around and then do something else funny. Kicks goals. Great player.
Rowbottom's super important as well. 11 tackles, which we just love. There was a bloke in the VFL on the weekend who had 19 tackles.
Boyd Woodcock.
Yeah. Crazy amount of tackles.
Was it? Boyd Woodcock.
He had nearly, I think he had 20-something touches and 9 tackles. Heaney going well. Goulden, they all got him on the week. They all got a lick of the ice cream on the weekend. Cunningham came in and played on Rioli. They've just got a well-balanced. Papley did a couple of celebrations in the face celebrations, which are...
Him kicking a goal is almost worth 12 points sometimes. What he gives them is crazy. I'm not joking. Like when he kicks them, he gets the crowd that excited.
Yeah.
It really does. Like,
12 points.
It's fantastic.
I'm
looking forward to getting into the matchups later.
How's Luke Parker going to go this week? You were riding him a bit?
I did ride him, really.
Yeah.
I rode him.
You death rode him?
Hard. I don't think I death rode him. I think you can't change it now. We'll get into this in a couple of days' time. You can't change it now, but he'll know that he needs to lift.
He doesn't need to go into the room with Horse.
He might. He might. Because look, we've been together for a long time now,
Yeah.
Luke.
But
I still don't think you know why they call me horse.
Yeah.
I need you to lift this week,
Yeah.
heading into the grand final. And if you lift, I'll lift.
Yeah.
If you lift,
Yeah.
it'll lift me.
Yes.
So let's
Lift together.
lift together.
Yep.
This week, heading into the
Fair.
game, which is big. Very good. Oh. We'll get into a review as well of Port later. I'm going to take back what I said earlier. Horrific list. It's definitely not a horrific list. Apologise to everyone out there. Some absolute fantastic players. What will more?
They're going to be busy in the off season too.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what they do. Saturday night, I went to this game. Brett was calling it at ABC. Was Mark on with you?
Nah, I was on with Mickey
been dropped.
Milkshakes and
Where's been dropped?
Ring a Ding Ding. It's Cameron Link.
So who gets the grand final call
He's
up?
got it, our boy.
Brett.
All three of us are in there again.
What's
The
Murph been
18.
doing?
Must be busy.
He's
is
at
he?
Bar Bambi, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With Tommy Sheridan.
Yeah, horsey. Big game on.
Murph's a co-owner of that. That's why I throw in there.
Is he
No,
really?
he is. Yeah, he's
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, with the boys. This game was unbelievable. I went to this game. What do you think of the time slot? Did you like it?
I spoke to a lot of families during the day on the Saturday, and they're just like, this is great because you can take the kids and still manage to get back home by a reasonable time.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, and it seems like they're just testing the water, the AFL, in terms of maybe this is where we're going to end up with the grand final. And, yeah, to me it does. I don't care whether it's day game, night game, whatever for the grand final. Does it make it a better spectacle? I don't know. I
love the day. I just think
I'm a bit that way too. I'm just like day footy, red day game, red footy.
Yeah.
You can have your party and
Start early, finish early.
Yeah.
I reckon it's just it drags the day out if it's a night game. You got nothing to do in the middle, so I agree.
bit of family time during the middle of you.
Exactly right.
Game of two halves though. Dyl, is that your assessment of this
Game
game?
of two halves. Would you say that? I don't know. I just thought it was a good game. Really.
What did you make of the first half?
Sorry. So why was it just? Go on then.
Jesus.
Give us-
Okay. I was at the game, so you can't say I didn't watch it, but I was having some good conversations as well. I must say the head wasn't just on the game.
Because in your head, you're thinking, maybe I'll get home and watch
I'll
the
say
minute.
this. Geelong shot themselves in the foot. They probably had a chance to kick 5 goals in the first 15 minutes.
Yep, dominated.
And missed from literally 30 metres out on slight angles every time. They should have been 5 goals up in the first quarter when Brisbane hadn't even had the ball in their inside 50.
Yeah, and if
Which is huge.
you flip it to the end, like Brisbane take those chances. Rayner on the left from 55, Kalarchi with the
Jeez,
they're
hasn't Archie just flipped it.
yeah three snags.
They kicked
Three
2-5
bang,
and
2-5.
had what was it? Inside 50s in the last quarter, like 22-7. But the Lions go the other way and kick 4-1 to 2-5.
So I think Geelong are going to be really
When they've been
upset with
horrific
that.
in front of goal all year, the Lions. Incredibly inaccurate. But when I say a game of two halves, Geelong dominated the first half. And I reflect on what we were talking about half time. It's like Brisbane need Mick Moldhouse, great coach, says they need to throw out their game plan. You can't be doing this kick mark, chip around sort of stuff anymore.
Did he say this at half time?
Yeah, he said, if I'm Chris Fagan, I'm going in there and saying, boys, what we've done all year is not working. This is shit. So we are going to have a crack at it. And to Brisbane Lions' credit and Chris Fagan and whatever he told his charges, they then got the ball in motion. They didn't allow Geelong to set up behind the ball. They went through the corridor, opened up the field, but then they got a lift out of Cam Rayner's third quarter was massive. He kicks 1 goal, 2, 11 touches. Zach Bailey's third quarter gets up the ground, gets moving. Charlie Cameron kicks a couple, I reckon, in that third quarter as well. And Geelong, albeit they lost their most important player in Max Holmes, who had dominated that first half, but they were asleep at the wheel essentially.
Neil.
He tore Oshane Mullen a new one around stoppage, and then Tom Atkins went to him, just could not keep up.
He had 6 clearances in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Lockie Neal.
Crazy,
Yeah.
And so I didn't catch the first half because I was just finishing up
the loss.
the loss. I didn't see much of the second half, to be honest either. But jumped in the car to drive home, and then the radio was pretty much just saying Brisbane look wounded and they're limping to the line, and you're thinking, it's all over.
Oscar McInerney dislocated his shoulder early
crook.
and then redid it again. It was just like, right,
Tough as
Stanley,
getting back on.
here we go, mate. You're going to take control of this game, but wasn't able to. And Joe Danaher lifted and gave them real drive out of the middle. So Darcy fought, as Big Sammy put in our group. He's like, imagine playing 2 games all year and then coming in for the big dance. It's yeah. You don't have to be dead to be stiff to be big Oscar making, do you?
Is there a chance? I've hurt my shoulder before, and I know how much they hurt, especially 2-3 days after. There's no way he gets up, right?
Oh, not when it's come out the second time and they couldn't get it back in. I think there's too much damage
once
there.
He had done it, but yeah, the second one.
Yeah,
he had to go on the ambulance after the game.
On the stretcher.
Crazy. McCluggage as well. I don't think you guys mentioned, but geez, he's a good player. He's so much bigger than you think he is for some reason.
He's powerful.
Yeah, he's so big.
Yeah.
You think like outside winger type. I know he plays obviously inside as well, but I think from early days, you'd think because he is that mix of like in and out. He's actually massive. His back is huge. Seeing him in person was.
When did you see?
I was at the game. I was like literally sitting like 2 rows back
from the fence.
Did you run over and?
I go, bloody, geez, you're a big boy, and he loved it.
He's like, Bucko.
Yeah, he loved it.
You guys remember how you wrote us off?
He loved it.
Remember Bucko?
Yeah.
We'll
get there. They Brisbane just the collective input of them all. You know, like across the game. There's some stars in there, like Lockie Neal. We just mentioned the game he had, but Dunkley, McCluggage, Neal, Ashcroft, Rayner was really good. All these guys go through the middle of the ground for them. Bailey lifted, so it wasn't left to too few. They all just got moving. So
I'll tell you who had the highest rated last quarter on the ground. Ryan Lester. He was massive, and not a household name.
That's amazing.
Been on a couple of probably a handful of 1-year deals for the last part of his career.
So I listened to an interview yesterday, which made a bit of sense. Right? So Ryan Lester, everyone's kind of marvelling at the fact he just keeps going to get 1-year contract and have Vic. I reckon the big detractor, or the reason he didn't get many opportunities for a large chunk, was when they brought in Hodge and they brought in Birchall. So for pretty much for 4 or 5 years, his spot was taken, and he would only kind of come in when they were out, or they had an extra tall or whatever it was. So
it's a fun fact.
It is a fun fact. It just made sense to me.
Just another fun fact. I actually roomed with Ryan at under 18s, Vic.
And what did you get up to? Any shenanigans?
Oh, heaps of PlayStation.
Go down 7-Eleven?
No.
Yeah.
All the crazy shit. We were a crazy.
Where'd you stay?
At the, I think we stayed, it was in Victoria actually. We stayed across the Vibe at Icon. Just walked across.
And you played for Vic Metro, which was tough because you grew up in the country.
I think my house was closer to the hotels at the games, so it was a bit weird. It was a weird prep.
What about the Cats? Talk about
the Cats. You know who I really enjoy watching, and this guy actually looked like a star, and I can't believe he got picked up. Did he actually get picked up from the twos waffle, Lawson Humphreys?
Played in the twos granny last year.
Granny. Mate, he looks so composed out there, kicks both feet, had beautiful movement just on the ground. Looks like he was sort of floating across. I really liked his game. Brian Myers is a star. He's a star.
Holmes was airborne.
But what about Grimes, the messy kick from the boundary into
Ollie Henry?
Ollie Henry, who played. He's stacked on some serious size.
Mate,
he's a big boy.
He's a damn good player. Yeah. Both of them are actually, Jack and Ollie, a couple of MSP boys there, so I'm a bit biased in that.
Course,
but I was really happy for Ollie. Obviously came across from Collingwood, and Collingwood win the flag last year, gets his chance this year, and so disappointed for him in that sense, but he couldn't have done much more to try and help them get across the line. They just got let down quite a few times by some players. Tyson Stengel, I thought, not just performance-wise, but some of his decisions to insert himself as a bit of a selfish player, going for that hanger, trying to kick bananas from wherever, just cocked it up a little bit. Tanner Bruin, I thought, had a chance to really grab the game. He's their leading clearance player all year for the Cats, but just had a really quiet middle patch of the game.
Yeah, Atkins. Like we spoke about the Brisbane weight of numbers that pulled through.
Yeah.
It seems when Holmes was probably the one that was up and going, and the Cats just didn't have that next wave coming through.
Shawnee Manor had a chance to really elevate his status. Got hit the post with it.
Crossing 50.
Yeah. Blitzarves didn't offer as much throughout the whole game.
What do you boys look at with a couple of the selections from Geelong? And you only bring this stuff up now because of the result. I wouldn't question it if it didn't happen. But obviously Mullins
over Tui.
Yeah. Then you look at Neal over Hawkins. I know Hawk had been out, and it's risky bringing him in. But you just think sometimes in those big games, a preliminary final, like Hawke's been there, he's done it before, experience under those times.
Hindsight, yeah.
I know.
And Neil
Neil was good last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we only asking that question because of the result? Then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Chris Scott addressed that in his presser as well.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Well, mate, either way, like you're left with that shitty feeling in your guts because of the result, and now it's the end of both of those two boys' career. Now I know you're biased towards Mitch Duncan, but I actually would have played Zach Tui ahead of Mitch as a sub. I think he did it the week before, came on, had a little bit of an impact, can do it both ends. Whereas, well,
Mitch got, and again, taking bias out of it, I just thought the decision with Holmes around the hamstring, I know how sensitive that topic was, but they nearly played one less for the whole nearly third quarter. Like
he was on the bench for 12 or 15 minutes, and then when he came on, he was half rat power.
And then went straight back off. And it's like, if he's got any awareness, I know he's dominating, but you just nearly have to get him off with his history, try and get him right for the next week, not risk it, and then...
he would have missed it. He missed the last one, didn't he?
He missed the last
and
grand
he would
final.
have missed this one.
That's crazy.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
But that I heard a story that he was actually right.
He got through.
He was okay to play
last
year or 2 years ago in the granny, but this same thing with Mills, but Chris Scott was just like not taking the risk, which is completely fair, and that's why I think
emotion out of it, Brett.
I think Horse would be the same, but wait and see, won't we?
We will, and we'll obviously talk about that in a couple of days.
Big game. How
was the atmosphere there, Dyl?
It was okay. It wasn't like...
It was 93,000.
Yeah, but it wasn't like... I don't think the fan base... It wasn't like going to a Carlton Collingwood game or anything like that. Like, it wasn't...
I had the cans on, so you don't get the real appreciation. I took the headset off for the final siren.
It was... Yeah.
But,
it got really good in the last quarter, obviously, when things started going. But
that rain of goal was special. Like, left foot from 50. That's a...
That last 5 minutes of football, I don't know what you guys said there, but the Tom Stewart tackle on Zach Bailey, that was probably the coolest moment I've ever seen live. If they had have gone on to win the game, that goes down as one of the best plays
of all time.
Yeah.
And then the Jack Payne rundown on Mitch.
Yeah.
And the Reece Stanley miss.
Yeah.
Still a chance. You kick that, you still got 20 seconds, 25 seconds.
35 or something, 33 seconds to get it out. I know that.
Was he taking the give the hands a bit too literally for Ruckman? He was 15 outside angle.
Slammed it into the post.
Surely someone could have, if they really did see the distress, just get over to him and...
Yeah, that was a hard one.
Brett would have been...
No, I don't. I think, mate, if you do that and then you miss from there, Chris Scott, he'd just be like, unless it's Paddy Dangerfield, you aren't playing next week, mate.
Yeah.
But Jezza should have just swung around on the left and banged that one through, maybe.
I'm just thinking if we missed anything in that game, but I think all in all, any matchups there that you didn't like or like for next week, well, there's probably a few that we can talk about coming in, but it's a big game. It was
a huge game.
So you reckon the right team won, I think. I think we've got the best grand final heading into next week that we could possibly get with these two teams.
I don't know, mate. As I said, I'm zipping 8, I reckon, with my tipping. So I thought the Cats looked like the best team to go all the way, given what they did to Port Adelaide. Completely touched them up, but the Lions are on a run. And I just wonder whether they're, because of the softer game, whether the Swans come in a little bit better prepared. But then the Lions have been there, done it last year, so it's you can mount a case for both. I just hope we get an absolute cracker like the old 06 one where it was,
But both sides have had their loss in the last couple of years and would have learned a fair bit about their weeks and how they handle all that and the emotion of it. And
it's cool to see both, as you said, both coming off a loss. One of them's going to win one.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, which we're very excited for. Moving on, because we'll get into, obviously come back in a couple of days.
But are we going to talk about, or when are we going to talk about your prediction at the start of the year? When are we going to bring that
Go
up?
and do it now.
We're going to do it now.
Go for it.
No, I want your take on it, because as it turns out,
look,
Mick and I know a little bit about
you can
footy.
thank me later.
Lions can.
You
can thank me
cocky
later.
with the chest out early in the year, weren't you?
You can thank me later.
Fags.
Yeah.
Fags.
Can we ring Lockie Neal?
Nearly.
Because we rang Lockie Neal after this,
and
when
we've got a great relationship. We actually spoke a couple of weeks ago.
Did you?
He'll probably win the Brownlow tonight.
Yeah.
And they've said thanks. Thanks for giving the rocket that we needed, because we were getting complacent. We're not going to lie. And there's no coincidence their season's turned around.
Yeah, right. So you're the Messiah. You're the reason.
Feels good about it.
You're the horse to the Lions.
congrats to the Lions for making the grand final. Look, there was obviously a bit of a mistake there, but I did.
Did you have the Swans? Did you have the Swans?
No, I think we said the Swans were going to win. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
You did.
But I actually think Brisbane.
But we change a lot, don't we?
I think Brisbane are going to win now. We do change a lot. Yeah, look, I don't think we harp on it. I think everyone's over it anyway. That what happened, and would love to get Fags in and chat about it.
Yeah.
Another
See
time.
how he used it.
See how he used it. Was it head on a plate? Was it used up in the meeting?
Yeah.
Was it Ken and
Did he go to it early?
Ginnivan
Did
thing?
he wait?
I think it was around the bye. They sort of put it up and said, "Look,
come on,
let's prove him wrong." Hand up, I got it wrong.
Yeah.
You also said Geelong were going out in straight sets. Remember that?
Yeah, well, that was just
Yeah.
coming into the finals. That was
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyww.
Yeah.
But yeah, as it shows,
We've all
and
made mistakes.
Proof is in the pudding in terms of your knowledge of football.
And we like pudding.
Yeah. Eat a pudding.
Yeah. We move on. VFL Grand Final yesterday, Waffle Grand Final and Sandful. Let's touch on these three because we love them coming through. And in all seriousness,
Jack Post, is he coming in quickly?
around the grounds.
he's not coming in.
Oh.
But I love watching these games because Mick, obviously, Werribee, the closeness there. We love Jimmy. We love the van. Massive congratulations to Werribee. I watched this game yesterday. But what's also exciting about these games, I love watching about them, is you can actually see potentially some diamonds in the rough that are coming through for next year. Let's get into the game, though, quickly. Big game.
Well, I was there live, and it was a bloody good game. The game was aesthetically a really high level game. Like Southport were out by 3 goals, bit of inaccurate kicking. It actually wasn't overly inaccurate. Like, when they kick a lot of points, but there was a lot of rushed and just goal line stuff and scrambly stuff. But they were out by 3 goals, and Werribee kicked 7, I think, in a row. Third quarter to halfway through the last, and Southport come late. It was bloody cool to watch because I clearly have had an attachment to them the last few years coaching them, but my main attachment to Werribee came, I played for them in 08 and 09, just to sit around the guys I played with way back when and just kind of, footy clubs are pretty special like that. You watch
31 years.
31 years since they last won one, and this was always looking in a competition that can be quite compromised at times with AFL line clubs at times. It just depends sometimes when you get them. Both these sides that played each other yesterday, I was like, this is you've got to grab this chance. So it was pretty cool when the sign went for Werribee.
It was funny watching the game. So obviously 2 standalone clubs, which is massive, big shout out, and that's what you want heading into those games too. But it was funny because there was quite a few past players for Southport that had been listed, then gone back and played senior footy. So a lot of ex-Gold Coast guys. And
so we've got a lot of Gold Coast ex-players. Joyce, Dawson, Braden Crossley. Who was unbelievable in the first half.
Wasn't he?
He was an absolute wrecking ball, clearances.
Dawson's a little bloke, isn't he?
Dawson's
you would have played with him because I
did.
remember playing against him.
Yes. He would have probably gone to you, Brett. Did he go to you, Brett?
Yeah, I think he might.
I think he came to me. I went off the back on the square.
He might have. He played a little bit of half-back. He played a fair bit on the ball.
Yeah, he was
good player.
He was a little tagger.
Good player. They've got a few that have moved up there for footy and lifestyle. Boyd Woodcock, Jay Lockhart. So they're a very, very well-credentialed club. It was a bloody...
But then the Werribee team, to where I was getting was, there's not many players there that have been listed before.
Not really, no. And I think even from last year. So what I love about these stories and the VFL stories and the Werribee story in particular yesterday, right? So from our grand final side last year to this year, there was only 10 players that played, but there was about 6 or 7 that had been in and around it for 2 or 3 years and had worked, been in and out and hadn't quite got it straight away, but they, the resilience, they keep pegging away. A guy called Jay Dalhouse.
He was good. He was very good yesterday.
Flynn Young, these guys that haven't fully grabbed it over their first 1 or 2 years, stuck at it, and then they become really good VFL players. So there was 6 or 7 of them, which was bloody cool. I think they had a fair throw at the stumps last night and probably up to today.
Fair enough. Where'd they get on the bloody Werribee RSL?
No, down the Werribee club,
down the sheds.
Footy club, down the sheds, and who knows where they go
Big
today.
Brewy. Does anyone, Mick, out of these games, because we'll move on in a second. I know Brett's getting frustrated.
He gets frustrated.
He gets frustrated.
He wheels on the chair.
Yeah, he goes, why are we talking about these fucking losers?
Yeah.
Not our words.
Oh, did he do the...
He went like that. He's doing the dance. Henderson and Brew. Are they a chance to get picked up?
I think I'd like to think so, yeah. Brewy's a bit older. Brewy's 27. And he's phenomenal at what he does. He's so clean, and his contested stuff is out of this world. Whether do yourself a favour if you might have seen it, like some of his media stuff over the last.
It's been very emotional.
Does just
it's
so
moving you, doesn't it?
show how much that type of stuff means to a lot of these people. I think the one for me is Jack Henderson, who got the best on ground medal. I've been saying this for 2 or 3 years that he should be playing AFL. He's
maybe a Max Sport client.
Versatile. Well, I've pitched it. Brett's going to go and look at some tape today, but
He should be all over
just
this.
take the word for it, Brett.
I should be.
You should be all over this.
I do most of my work in the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, but that's where the majority of the kids come through the
Yeah.
draft.
Okay.
Sometimes if you're 22, 23 and just can play the game as well and show you can play consistently at the state league
I
level,
would've
that
thought-
you can
I would've
bounce
thought
in
that
as well.
too.
Yeah.
Mick, you're a coach at North Melbourne. Why don't you just pick him up?
Well, that's the plan.
I mean, he's not a recruiter, nor a list manager.
No, but I'll be putting the magnet will be going in on the board.
Love that. Moving on, Waffle, good on yous. Peel Thunder defeated East Perth.
Nathan Wilson played for Phil.
Yeah, he did. He's not on Fremantle's list though anymore, is he? So he's just gone back and because they're affiliated with Fremantle.
He's a
still.
Mandra boy.
Mandra boy. Neil Erasmus.
Yeah, won the medal.
Won the medal. He's a Fremantle.
He's a
still
Fremantle
is the
player, yeah.
Good on you. Sandful, this game was huge. Glenelg defeated Norwood. Liam McBean kicked 7.
Big beanie.
Captain kicked 7. And you should see the worm of this game.
Yeah,
they actually had
so-
a massive comeback, which is huge.
Worm-
That looks like the best. I think out of all 3 of those games, VFL, Waffle, Sandful, the Sandful looked the best aesthetically.
Atmosphere.
Adelaide Oval, massive crowd, big, like it just looks huge.
I watched the last bit of it just on like a highlight thing.
Not the KO mini.
No, I don't think it was a KO mini to grab a hold of, but Glenelg came from 5th or something as well to win it, which is
To go back to back.
yeah. So they would have had to win down in that game.
Big beanie.
I've
Played
never,
big beanie.
have you ever won a grand final like
You would have
premiership?
played with him, Brett, at
played
Richmond.
with
Do you remember him? Him and Marcon used to be in the
Yeah.
in the bees with
in
the bibs?
Yeah,
They
I
used to wear the
used to
bibs.
put a fair bit of time into Beanie to try and help him put some size on because I saw him as he's a clever player.
Oh, he frustrated
But
you because he couldn't put the weight on.
couldn't put the weight on, but he grew late, so he's always naturally
a bit
like
of a midfielder, but big.
midfielder ball finder versus just mate. We need you to be a big bastard.
just
yeah.
knee through spine sort of energy.
Yeah.
So you didn't get the best out of him, Brett.
Oh,
He was playing PlayStation with fucking Nah till 3 a.m. every weekend.
He got moved on. Best mates with Joey Danaher,
He
actually.
is. Those two coming together, Calder Cannons, pretty exciting. Go and watch that.
Room together.
I think they did with me
At
and
the
Lester.
vibe.
Me and Lester at the vibe. Moving on. Brett, you're the man of this. Port. Spoke about it earlier. What would you do to fix them up next year? Who's coming in? Who's going out? Again, I take back what I said earlier, but they can add some excitingness. heading
Who would I
into this
take
year.
out? Well, I think, and with zero disrespect, I think Boakey and Charlie Dixon need to finish up. I think they're ready to move on. I love what Boakey's been able to do and get out of himself, how professional he is. He's the example that I use for my younger players, him and Pendles, is to say, well, why can they do it for so long? This is what they do. But I think the time's come for them to move past those two boys in particular. Charlie's looked like he's
Been a bit banged up,
a
hasn't he?
bit banged up, and as my old man would say, couldn't turn around in Tassie without getting his feet wet, sort of thing. Like takes a while to turn.
That's a
You a
great
big
start.
fan,
That's a good. I was like trying to work it out, and I'm like, that's quite funny. Good.
Because you're on an island.
Yeah, no, it's
Smaller island.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah.
So those two, I reckon they're in the mix for Lukosius, and I reckon Harry Perryman would have to be a fair chance to go there as well. Big deal for Pez. We know that he's been offered 6 years at really good money.
I'm on a message. Where's Isaac Cumming going? Is he Adelaide?
I reckon Adelaide
Yeah.
is my gut feel. Him and Tex are really close.
Broken Hill boys.
Yeah, Broken Hill boys. So I reckon that's my gut feel. I don't certainly I'm not
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that
Privy
they
to
could
any of it.
afford all 3 of them.
Adelaide Port.
Yeah.
Uh,
Lukosius, Cumming and Perryman. And, we'll put it out there now. Perryman and Isaac Cumming are like very good friends as well. So I'm sure that they'd love to play at the same team together. But
It's
not
a small town.
we're
Yeah,
not
they can
sure
just-
if you...
Done that for a while, haven't they? They've been
Yeah.
Giants.
They'd love to continue playing for the same team. I'm sure they would, but I'm just just putting that out there just in case people were wondering.
Yeah.
Do they hate each other? No, they don't.
Yeah, so I reckon that's the move. I reckon they're trying to lure Lukosius there, but
Yep.
Adelaide will be certainly trying to win his services as well. It's still not confirmed either because, I mean, as his contract to play at the Gold Coast. So Yeah,
Port
watch
now,
this space.
Are we saying is it just the worst sort of non-announced thing ever that Ken's not going to be coaching there? Is that
He's going to coach next year. That's been confirmed.
So he is coaching.
Yeah.
And then
I reckon there'll be a succession plan come the end of next year, but maybe if he wins it, like he might go around again. But
Who have they got? Sorry, Dylan.
No, you go, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
You go.
Sorry, mate. We might have been going down the same path.
I
Anyway,
think we were.
If Charlie Dixon goes out,
No, we won't.
who are there? So they got Georgiades,
Marshall, Lord.
Yeah. So they're just like
Yeah, and they got another young bloke,
Increased
one of our
opportunity.
boys, Tom Scully, who's in limbo at the moment in terms of getting a deal. Who's
Charlie out.
He's
Nice
a
play, Brett.
205 centimetre key forward.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeez.
big
Have you
forward.
had the Liam McBean chat with him?
Yeah, certainly. It's
That's not a bad call.
Yeah,
He's pretty old though. Now he'd be 28.
Beanie.
Yeah.
We're not bringing Liam McBean into Port Adelaide's team, I don't think.
No, we're talking about like Brett talking.
No,
to
I'm aware of the conversation. I was just
Yeah.
I like to throw things up just to see.
But I think they're going to lose Dan Houston. I reckon he's
gone to Saints. He's gone to the Saints, Brett.
That's a hard take.
I'm telling you.
I'm not listening to you because you also tip lines not to be.
Brett,
any good
you said
this year.
Geelong would go out in fucking straight sets. We've all made mistakes in our life, mate. We can move on.
Houston of the Saints, Chad Warner of the Eagles.
That's 10-year deal.
Yeah.
$3 million.
That's
Anything else?
next
It's
year. I reckon
again.
that's actually legit. I reckon that will happen.
Give me a third. Oh, Cadman and North. Obviously.
No, that one. He's my cousin. He's not going. Yeah, they do need a key forward, though. I think is what you're saying.
Well, no, I think they've got it there. Like,
They need to sort
increased
out.
opportunity for Lord and
Radaglia got
Marshall.
moved forward because he failed down back essentially. But yeah, I don't know. He's I'm not chips in on Sava Radaglia as a.
Not as a main key forward. I actually like him playing back though, with Alir. Anyway, it's going to be really interesting to see. The last one I was going to say on Port. If I was Ken Hinkley, I'd just be going as a senior director of like coaching at West Coast. Get Stephen King in as the head coach, and Ken as like the sort of just like cocker above him, just going. I think that'd be a great little
puppet
mix.
master.
Yeah,
What now?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what your mail is? That Stephen King's getting the job?
I think
at
he's
West
the
Coast?
only one that's nearly been public. Like, who else is there?
McQualter
Yeah, they've got two others. It's actually publicly down
and
to three.
what's the Collingwood's
Skipworth.
Hayden Skipworth.
I like Stephen King purely. I don't know him from Bar or Soap, but I like him from being involved in a Cats program. Like if I was me and I was going for a coach,
This is his first year back there.
I'd be going anyone in the Cats and Swans are the two teams that I'd look at. Obviously, Dean Cox has pulled his name out, but in those two teams, they're the only really good, sustained, successful teams at the moment.
Do you think Don Pike could say if John Longmire wins it this year, he's just like,
Get him.
elevate Coxie to there, horse, we'll pay you $2 million a year, come over here and coach our side. Do you think that could be
No, I don't think so. The Sydney thing, they just seem so like steadfast on staying there. But hey, watch your space.
I like
Be
it.
egg on our face.
I think that there's got to be something big that happens. West Coast are the only. I know there's caps and whatnot, but West Coast have so much money.
Well, they've reported, Mitchie Cleary came in and told us on the radio that they're hoping to have an announcement by Grand Final day. So, yeah, let's wait and see.
Looking forward to it. Last one, Geelong list management. What would you do heading into next year? Obviously, there's a Hawkins, Tui
Finished.
officially finished up.
Yep.
So there's some big sort of spots. Would you think? I don't know how much money they would both be on, but there's a bit to play with there.
Yeah,
bring in Bailey Smith.
Bring in Bailey Smith.
Tui, I don't think would be on a hell of a lot, and I don't think Hawk would have been either because he only signed a 1 year or 2 year deal late. So there's not a heap to play with there. But then, mate, they've done so well with their recruiting in terms of being able to get in Ollie Henry, who we spoke about, Tanner Bruin, Jack Bowes, and Pick 7 a few years ago. They're bringing in
with pick 7.
Jai Clark. So he's another one who's just waiting in the wings. Young Connor O'Sullivan down there. The interesting watch for me is Sam DeConing and what they...
Did you say this last week?
Yeah, I
Get
stole
him
it
to
from
Carlton?
Corn. Yeah,
I
but
love that.
that's a fine.
That's Mac's phone just
Yeah,
going off.
yeah.
Is that your alarm?
Nah, it's a phone call.
Who was it, your mum?
No, it actually wasn't. Just a mate.
What do you want? What do you reckon he wanted?
It's actually she, but...
Oi!
No, no one can hear you.
Yeah, he's got no one. Anyway, that's fine. Moving on.
So watch this space on that one. If I'm Carlton, I'm thinking I need some support for Jacob Wiedering. Let's get that sorted.
And the brother thing.
The brother thing. It's a big play. Yeah.
I'd love that call. I saw him on the weekend. I was at the game, and you stand with like the Geelong crowd, and you look at their arena. No, I was sitting myself there. But like Tui, Guthrie, Hawkins, De Koning, as you said earlier around the list, I was like, far out, so strong. And you even think about our mate Connor coming through. Like, they've got so many players. Not that he's a part of their club, you know that. But if Carlton can get him across, that would be massive. Massive.
Yeah.
Who knows if it's even a thing.
I was playing golf with Stephen Wells earlier this year, and I said, geez, mate, you've just found some absolute players from nowhere, like Brian Myers and Tom Stewart's obviously the marquee player, Atkins. He's like, yeah, but they report those, but they don't report so much on the misses, you know. So, yeah.
Well, they report on the misses when your team...
Well, when you're down the bottom, but they've been so consistent. So, yeah, I think they do an incredible job, but people want to go there. They want to go there to play. I wanted to go there myself to play.
Were you doing a couple of deals on the course, Brett?
No, we weren't, actually. No, we're just building a connection. Wellesley's a great man.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, so... Yeah, that was.
What's he doing now, bro? He's not. He's
still in recruiting. Yeah, he still does.
Is Mackie doing the list management though now? Or?
Yeah. So Mac's in charge of that, and then Wellesley's still there. Shane O'Bree's gone into recruiting as well. So
cool.
They're they do it well down there at the Cats.
Hey boys, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.
Thanks so much, boys. This episode of Footy and Friends is brought to you by our friends at JD Sports. Check out our episode tomorrow. We're actually going to drop it early because of time relevance. We're coming in tomorrow.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just to record this next one on the grand final preview. We'll go through absolutely everything we need to know about the grand final. I'm excited for this.
You.